Welcome to another Tracking Trends Thursday with Kristen Mason Coreas, owner of the Homes by Mason team. Today is Thursday, October 2nd. I am back home. No more luggage racks in the background, so today should be a smoother video. I do want to say Happy Yom Kippur to those who are of the Jewish faith, celebrating that today. Also, I actually have a bit of a heavy heart today. My thoughts are with everyone impacted by the government shutdown. Also, my thoughts are with people who may be impacted by the government budget if and when it gets passed. I know a lot of people are possibly may lose benefits, health insurance and Medicaid. And so we're in a really difficult time right now with competing priorities and a lot of people impacted by decisions out of our control, out of our direct hands. And so my thoughts are with everyone, a lot of people today with what's going on in the world. And I'm still showing up today to share with you all who want to know what's going on in real estate here locally as well as nationally. So let's take a look. And interest rates did inch up just a bit. However, they do remain low comparatively in regards to the 52-week range. So that's, where rates have been for the past year. We're almost as low as we have been for the past year, 6.34, just a touch above where we were last week. So, and the monthly average, right around what the monthly average is. So that's relatively good news in terms of looking back at where we've been in the past year. In national economic news, the government shutdown, again, is the biggest thing that we are looking at right now. And what I'm hearing is that there's not necessarily an end in sight. So we're going to see some impacts from that one way or another. And certainly in our area, in the Northern Virginia, DC metro area, we have a lot of people who are on furlough right now, not getting paid right now, not sure when they're going to get paid. So very likely that will impact our buyer activity. And in other news, ADP, a private payroll company, saw their biggest decline in 2.5 years. They're saying that's a sign of the labor market weakening. And as in other news, services are going to likely be delayed and unavailable during the government shutdown. Services that impact buying and selling homes, such as checking credit and checking IRS records as a part of the loan closing process, and reports. So the job reports that will normally come out on Fridays will likely not come out. So we're kind of in a wait and see mode right now in regards to that government shutdown. And so due to what's going on here, I'm reading that there's increased speculation of further Fed rate cuts, because when the economy is threatened, when the economy is not doing well, then the Fed will often reduce their interest rate in an attempt to boost the economy. So it's good news, bad news. People like low interest rates for buying homes, but when the Fed is reducing the rates, that's because there are signs of problems in the economy. And pending home sales of existing homes increased solidly in August to the highest level in 5 months. That is believed to be related to the lower mortgage rates that we have been seeing. However, there is data suggesting that home price growth is cooling, and actually that may be a good thing for buyers. So appreciation is decelerating amid affordability pressure. So decelerating appreciation, do not get that confused with depreciation. Two different things. Depreciation is if home prices are going down, if home values are going down, but decelerated appreciation means homes are still increasing in value, but just at a slower pace than they have been before. So currently we are seeing some decelerating appreciation, not necessarily depreciation. So let's see what is happening in the Mid-Atlantic region. Prices in the Mid-Atlantic region are actually higher this year than they were last year. So again, we're not currently seeing depreciation. Now that's list price. List price is different than sold price. So we should be looking at sold prices. And, if we are seeing depreciation, I'm definitely going to let you know about that, but not a trend yet at this time. New listings are still above last year, so that may continue to contribute to increasing inventory, especially because the next point here is that new contracts lag behind last year. So while we have increasing new listings and decreasing new contracts, that will continue to cause increased inventory. Supply and demand is a key component of prices. In the larger DC metro area, relatively flat week over week. So showings are flat at 0.3% increase. New purchase contracts down by 1.8%. So just a slight decrease there. Time to contract down by 2 days. New listings down 11%. List price down 3%. And active listings down 0.1%. Year over year, showings are up 5%, purchase contracts down only 1%, median time to contract increased by 5 days at 29 days is the median right now for the larger DMV, and new listings up 8%, median list price up 3%, and active listings up 37%. So not any big surprises there, except to see that year over year, generally things are up. I'm just re-looking at that, although purchase contracts basically flat. So again, if we continue to have increased inventory and not an increase in contracts to eat up those increased listings, then we will end up with more inventory, more supply. And if you've been watching me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We have needed more supply. We have had a situation of not enough supply and too much demand for a really long time. So the sky is not falling in real estate at this time. The sky is not falling. This is our hyperlocal data for Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, and Falls Church, where we do most of our business at Homes by Mason. So you can see here that for this past week, the average of the new listing numbers and the new under contract numbers are basically on par with what the average has been for this year. And what else can we see here? So you can see a slight increase. I talk about this sometimes, that in the fall, after August, we do tend to see a little bit of a blip, I called it, in activity in the fall. And that is what we're seeing, right? In September, we're seeing higher listings than we saw in the summer and slightly higher contracts. So that is a trend that we do tend to see each year. Now the week over week data, I don't really see trends here. So you can see we're comparing, was our inventory higher or lower, and were our contracts higher or lower than the week before? When you look back over the year, some weeks it's higher and some weeks it's lower. And so this week we were down week over week in supply and in contracts. So I just can't kind of put my finger on a trend here in terms of the week over week data for our hyperlocal area. So a trend here, though, that I do see is with the demand to supply ratio. So that has kind of slowly, steadily been coming down. It hasn't been too far off from last year. I mean, you can see earlier in the year, it was higher at and around 100%. And then we've kind of stayed in the 80-ish percentile for a lot of the year. And we are creeping down a little bit. You can see here, the blue bar is the demand to supply ratio. We're seeing that come down. So in this year, the demand to supply ratio, which is looking at compared to how many new listings came on the market, how many new contracts did we get, and that shows us, is there leftover inventory? So 79, about 80% this past week. So that means 20% of the listings were left over to add to the existing inventory. Last year, we were at 100%. That means literally the same number of new listings that came on the market we saw in contracts. So literally no inventory was added to the existing inventory. And so again, the trend here is that demand to supply ratio has been creeping downwards, which means our inventory is going to creep upwards. And again, not a horrible thing that we have more inventory, but then If our demand continues to creep down, then that's when we're going to start to see changes in price. But right now, it's not such a bad market to be in, although with the government shutdown and no possible end in, again, if there's an end in sight, that would be good news. But currently, the news as of this morning is no current end in sight. And so that could certainly be bad, especially in our area. So again, year over year, we are up in supply and up in demand. And that's what we have seen most of this year. Again, most of this year, we have had increased inventory and increased contracts in the hyperlocal area. So that is your Tracking Trends Thursday. Oh, I always forget about this slide. Sorry. So we kind of already talked about the interest rate is shown here. So it's coming down slightly. And the days on market is the other number on this chart. So we're at 27 average days on market in our hyperlocal area, which is a bigger number than what I'm used to. I say that each week, but it's down slightly from the week before. So, roughly 30 days is kind of the expectation in our hyperlocal area for how long a home will sit from when it lists until it goes under contract. That is your Tracking Trends Thursday for today, Thursday, October 2nd. Thank you for watching. And anytime you want to talk about data and how it impacts you and your decisions, feel free to reach out. I'm kind of a data geek. If you didn't figure that out by now, you can call me or text me at 571-210-1866. You can email me at kristen@homesbymason.com, or wherever you're watching this, there'll be a link down below to get on my calendar. Thanks again. Have a great weekend.